The Dot Pad, How the Bible Inspired a Breakthrough. Moderator Devin Coldway, speakers Eric Ju-Yoon Kim and Ki Kwang Sung.
Thank you. And thank you, Eric and Keith, for coming for Site Tech Global. I'm really excited to talk to you again. It's always interesting to talk with someone who's doing a real technological innovation in an area that it hasn't been standing still, but it has struggled to move forward over the last few years. The Braille e-reader, essentially. Can you tell me, maybe just give yourselves a brief introduction and tell me why you got into this space to begin with?
Hi, Devin, thank you for introductions. I'm Eric, co-founder and CEO of Dot. He obviously gonna introduce himself, so I'm gonna just briefly introduce how he started. So when Ki and I was in college, we went to the church and we saw really big Braille Bible, and we got really shocked. And we were kids who really admire Silicon Valley culture. So we wanted to do meaningful thing to the society, and that's why we decided to start Dot. And obviously, as you mentioned, Devin, there were obviously technological, there were pretty much there was no innovation in this field. So that's what we felt. So we really wanted to disrupt, and we really wanted to make an impact, huge impact. So we started to develop a full-page Braille display since 2015, and around 2019 we succeeded initial development, and right now we have a technological leadership in this industry.
Cool. And Ki, you want to give us your side of that story?
Yeah. So. Yeah, as Eric mentioned, so we started this company, when we were doing different startups. So because we went to church together, and then we saw the gigantic Braille book, and then we felt like there should be a lot of things to change. So that's why we started developing the full page digital textbook. So right now we're, we got to the point. So we're happy to share our experience and also like technology about the Dot Pad.
Yeah, so I think maybe it would help to set the stage just a little bit to talk about what was there before. I mean, obviously you have the printed Braille books, but you also had a few single line e-readers. What was out there when you started doing this?
Can you go first?
Yeah, so we had a blind roommate, and he was like bringing like the Braille Bible, and then we noticed that if we translate the normal Bible into Braille, it becomes 22 volumes. So he just cut the Bible and then bring the one by one to the church, and then read the every single line on the Braille text Bible. So at the time, we were listening to the iPad or iPhone, whatever the digital contents, but he was like bringing the giant Braille book. So we, like we were shocked actually. And we thought that we need to make some Braille type, like iPhone or iPad for the visually impaired people. Yeah.
Tell me about what you ended up using as what you ended up creating, because you can't just say like, oh, I think I'll just make a full page, Braille e-reader. It's like it's such a huge sort of technological endeavor. Where did you even start with something like that? Did you start with the dots themselves? Did you start with the previous technologies and look at those? Like, where did you begin, and how did that develop into how the Dot is today?
It was a really long journey. First, I think we set the we decided the mission. So our mission at first was creating affordable and innovative technology for blind people in the world. That was our mission. So our whole technology focus was creating affordable technology. So, and around that time there was like Apple Watch was there, everyone talking about it. So we thought, how about we create a Braille smartwatch? And that's, I think, really good size and small enough size for MVP. So we started with that idea, and our goal was creating that a watch below $300. So obviously the Braille technology that goes inside targeted really low price. So we could actually start with that mission, and we met so many professors and people, organizations in this industry. And especially we met a lot of technicians that have different technological background. And we found out there are some possibilities that we could actually make this happen through magnet technology. So we met a lot of magnet technicians, experts in this area. And we started with a prototype, and we took, I think, around 3 years to make Braille smartwatch. And since smartwatch is really small size, we could actually create small technology. I think that was really lucky. So that technology could actually contribute the full page tactile display that we are creating right now. And that technology is affordable, obviously. So we could actually create, more affordable and competitive price point of technology in this sector. And obviously it was really hard. There were so many things happened while we until now. So I mean, I'm just happy that Ki and I still in this company, and we are keep creating innovation.
I'm curious about the actual the dot itself, the cells that you created. We don't have to get into too much like technical and engineering detail, but what's different about the cells that you created compared with some of the ones I've seen going back 5, 10, maybe 20 years in research organizations? They have these little devices, but they haven't been small enough, or they haven't been durable enough. How did you come up with the design for your cells that it could fit in a smartwatch, and small enough that it could end up being a grid of thousands of them?
Mm-hmm. So, we were creating this Braille smartwatch first. Obviously, I'm wearing this, and this is little tiny smartwatch. We need to have the 4 cells of the Braille, and also the PCB and everything, so we can connect with the iPhone or iPad. So at the time, we were looking like different technologies, like including piezoelectric or electropolymer technologies. But those technologies was really big and expensive. That was a problem. So the piezoelectric, the size of that is like my hand. So we could not fit the technology inside of the watch. So well, we cannot use the current existing technology. We need to make another electronic magnetic actuator for the new type of small size of Braille display. So so after that, we gather all the magnetic or electronic engineers in Korea, and then we reached out, luckily, sound engineers. So
that's right.
Yeah, they were specialized, the vibrations and magnetic, whatever speaker, technology. So we were, we got together like 10 people, and then creating ideas. And after 2 years, after spending a lot of money, like our seed and Series A round, and we succeeded making the small size of the electromagnetic actuator that finally fit to the watch. So That was our, the technological initiative. And so we created the dot watch, but we had some issues on that, because the Braille smartwatch is only displaying the Braille characters. So it has some spacing between the lines to distinguish two different lines characters. But to develop the tactile graphic, the dot pad, we needed to reduce the line between the cells. So our lab, the sound engineers, they started working the second, the phase of the technology, and then it took like 4 years after that. It's a lot of time.
Wow.
But, yeah, but we, succeeded making the new type of the Braille actuator cell, so that we can, put the single line with the same spacing, so that we can, create the graphic informations here without any disruption. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it was such a long process, but it sounds like you involved so many smart people. I'm curious about what kind of feedback you got when you first put it out there, maybe when you got your smartwatch into the hands of people who were using it. What did you find out about the tech that you had used? Was it not durable enough? Did it not go up high enough? Did you want to put it up halfway? What was how has the technology changed over the last few years as you have iterated on it?
Yeah, thank you for the great question, Devin. Back then, I think it was really, we are really lean. So we got so many feedbacks around the world. And luckily at the time we got a lot of news coverage about us, because the concept itself was, I think, creative. So a lot of people liked it. And because of that, our investors around that time had really high expectations. So I think we were like a really desperate at the time, and a lot of customers gave really good feedbacks. But like as a startup, founders, you want to show growth, right? So we needed to sell, but a lot of customers gave us feedback like, oh, how about, what if I, like waters spill into the actuators? How are you gonna prevent that? And how are you gonna protect the actuators? Can you put more actuators, like 12 cells or 20 cells on the watch? And so there are just so many ideas and challenge, and obviously people started to compare dot watch with Apple Watch. So we could Apple is giant company, so Apple Watch had so many functions, like health functions and everything. So we tried to put that functions on the dot watch, but it was really hard. Market expectation was really high, and what we could achieve is compared to that is really low. So but we got, based on that feedbacks, really crucial feedback, we grew a lot, and our engineers naturally they could improve our technology by a customer driven way. So but I think a lot of customers gave us the ideas and the directions towards the path. So, it was really natural that we could make. So the technology that we used for the watch was D1, its first generation, and that the technology that we are using for the pad and tactile display is the second generation. And second generation is based on all the feedbacks around the world from our customers.
Gotcha. And once, it's funny that you were talking about comparing with Apple Watch, because the last time I talked with you was when you were working with Apple to work on their tactile graphics API. I think I got the name right. And because that's a way of displaying directly what's on an iOS screen on the dot pad, which is just such a cool, fundamentally such a great capability. And it opens up so much just as a starting point. And I know you're just getting started in a lot of ways. Can you tell me a little bit of what it was like to work with Apple on that? You know, what do they like to work with? Did they contribute a lot, or you know, did you get to work around what they had set out? Tell me about that.
So with the Apple, actually, there was also a long journey. We met the right person at Apple like 4 years ago at the CSUN conference. We were talking about how we can develop the HID Braille standard for everyone, so that PC and Android OS, iOS can support any Braille devices compatibility. And at the time, I met one guy from Apple. He was really enthusiastic at making something accessible in this industry. And we kept talking about the accessibility in the world, what we can, build and how we can impact the world. After, like 2 or 3 years, I developed a prototype of the tactile display, and then I showed it around. And then he was the person that I showed the prototype of the graphic display. And then I said, we need to do something here with Apple. So at the time, Apple was doing some different the trials about providing the graphic information to blind people, like making some different tones of the sounds for delivering the chart information. So they were very excited, get into the development with the dot pad, tactile graphic display. So okay, well, we gotta impact something, and then we gotta make the compatibility between the iPhone, iOS, and the dot pad, and to deliver a whole graphic user interface at this moment the blind people cannot access. We need to deliver the user graphic interface to the visually impaired people through the dot pad. So that was like 2 years ago, and then we started developing some APIs to capture for graphic information and also text information from iOS, and then the convert that information into tactile way and then display on the pad. So it took a lot of times, but it's already on the public API on the iOS software. And Apple and us, we are getting a lot of feedback from the market as well about the API, and then based on that, they're developing some more the functionality based on that API, such as making the keynotes accessible, or numbers accessible, so that blind people actually can access the whole documentation tool, so that they can make some productivity on that.
Gotcha. That sounds interesting that we're working with them on that. Obviously, they're very motivated. I've talked with a lot of people at Apple about their accessibility efforts, and they seem genuinely motivated to work with folks like you who are doing some new tech. Excuse me. But of course, iOS is just one platform out of many. It's a big one, a huge one that is really good to be on. But now that you've sort of proved out you can work with iOS, you can do this kind of thing, you can do these graphics. What are some of the places or platforms or services that you are hoping to get into, or that you're already working on?
So after the collaboration with Apple, we thanks to you, Devin, we write an article about it at TechCrunch, and everyone saw that. So at the time, we luckily got in touch with right people in Google. So they are really excited about having those kind of technology with the Android OS and Chrome OS. So they haven't started yet, but they are talking about this internally, like at Google, and then hopefully in near future we can also connect with the Google platform pretty soon. And also the one big thing is about NV Access. NVDA software, screen reader software from NV Access is one of the top, the most used screen reader in the world on PC, Windows OS PC. And they're a nonprofit organization, and we made some donation to them. And then they are willing to make some collaboration between MVDA and the iPad. So right now we are working on, connecting those two platforms so that in near future, blind people can access the Microsoft Office, the whole Microsoft Office functionalities, so that in their schools or in their jobs, in everywhere, they can write their thoughts on the Word file and then access the whole chart and table information from Excel or PowerPoint. So our goal, we are making with them is to enhance the productivity of the blind people in their daily life. So that's the top, the news from the dot.
Totally. Yeah. Oh, it's great to hear you working with Microsoft, Google, Envy. This is like a who's who in like accessibility world. I think that's fantastic. I guess the obvious question here then is, beyond making it possible for the device to work with these services, how do you get the device into the hands of the people who need it? I know that every hardware company in the world has been having trouble getting enough chips, shipping, manufacturing, packaging. Everything has been slow, more expensive than usual. So how do you plan on getting your device into the hands of people who want to buy one or have one assigned to them by their company or their whoever? How do you, is there a way to do that? That are they buying it themselves? Is it being covered by grants or companies? Like, tell me how you're making that happen.
Yes, Devin, thank you for a great question. Through the Dot Watch, we learned a lot, as I mentioned, and Dot Watch was solely a B2C product. So there was so many hardships managing all the customer service, managing all the shippings and everything. So Dotpad, our kind of core strategy here is work with really passionate partners around the world. And we also work with the government and organization. And one of the greatest partnership that we have so far is the partnership with APH and HumanWare. So I think they are also in the SciTech Global. So they are all really prominent players and prestigious market leadership that they have. It's amazing. So we are collaborating with our technology to create next generation education device. So recently APH announced on their NFP convention and their annual convention that it will be really huge. They called it Holy Grail Braille. So we're really excited, and we are supporting with our whole capacity of engineering right now. So through their network and distribution channel, I think a lot of schools in the US will be able to access these kind of our technology and also all the software that we are creating together. So that's, I think, the one way. And I think we're going to do the same things in many countries, not just education sectors like rehabilitation, and some like HR department, like big tech companies. So I think solely, I think we're gonna focus on B2B and B2G channel, and I think by end of next year or early 2024, we're gonna start a B2C approach. But we don't have any we don't have any plan yet for B2C markets. So we serve, you know, our partners and important, you know, strategical partners around the world is our main focus right now. I hope that.
Gotcha. It makes sense. And so where does the actual device that you've developed that Key showed us, is that like going to be a reference design for people to modify if they want to, or is that ultimately you do want to sell that, you know, 100 of them to, you know, Oracle or Salesforce or whatever? Like, do you plan on selling those devices to people, whether it's, you know, a government or a corporation or something?
Yeah, I mean, so in the US, we're collaborating with IPH and Humonier, so we respect our, you know, wonderful partners. So we're supporting just like display area, so they can make their own the product and then the form factor, so that we can you know, fulfill the needs of the students in the schools. But different, you know, the country, we are also trying to, you know, work with the partners, our partners around the world. So with them, you know, it's up to their needs, I think. So we can also provide you know, only the display part, and also we have the, you know, the design, one design of the form factor with the device. So they can also get this one for their local, you know, the partners. So, I mean, we are flexible, so, but we, you know, respect our current partners, IPH and Humonier. So with them, we are doing the US market, but rather than that, we're also looking for our great partners too.
And one additional thing is there are so many. So I think, you know, we opened graphical user interface world. So I think there are so many things to do, like games, entertainment. We're also researching a lot about how we can make sports available in real time on the pad with the, you know, TV broadcasting. So like that, and how about webtoons or YouTube movies? There are so many possibilities. So we are with our global partners, we are researching a lot. How can we make that happen? So right now it's more like intensive research and development phase, and you know, and the partners have ability and budget for research. So I think, you know, I think the first target will be research-oriented organizations for research purpose and some of the distribution. So I think around the world, a lot of developers and students will have in their have our technology in their hand first.
And where do you think, we only have just like a minute left, so I want to hear from both of you. Where are you most excited to see a dot pad or a evolution of the dot pad, whether it's smaller or bigger or on the wall or in a bank or whatever? Where are you most excited to see your technology appear?
Eric?
Key is buying time, throwing it to Eric. Eric, you can go first.
Yeah, I think the first, you know, exciting thing is we made it, and that was our really big goal when we started. And for 30 years, there was lack of innovation in this field, and there was no commercially available technology in this field. And I think we're really happy that we can contribute to the society especially education field, because our all inspiration is actually came from all the children, like blind children, blind students. Through our technology and a lot of software support, we can enable STEM education. That's amazing. I think we can change their future jobs. That's most exciting part for us. And I think we're putting our life to make that happen. And I think this is really something that you can pursue until you die. This is really great mission, and we really want to change their lives, and we really want to change their family's life through our work. This is amazing thing for us.
Yeah,
I agree. Anything to add, Key?
Yeah, thank you for the time. I mean, basically, Eric and I, the dot and tactile displays our life, the challenge and our mission. And I don't know how we develop this like until when, but right now we think that we can do that like until we die. But like we feel like we are making a monitor like for the visually impaired people, which means we want to reduce the price as much as possible, and so that we're gonna make it really affordable, like a monitor we can buy from everywhere right now, and then we can provide this monitor like a display to everywhere. Like we're controlled by monitor actually right now. We have the monitor here, we camera, I have iPad, I have a monitor here. We're getting a lot of information through the monitor. So we want to provide this monitor for the visually impaired people in everywhere for every single visually impaired people, and then bring the graphic user interface for them. So right now, that was like back in like 15 years ago, we had the feature phone, but the Apple brought the iPhone, the smartphone. So after that our life have changed a lot with the graphic user interface. And I mean, like with that graphic user interface, visually impaired people can access the education materials, any documentation tool in their jobs, so that I don't think it is about accessibility, but it's about productivity. So we can innovate their productivity in their life, and hopefully the graphic tactile graphic display can be the window to that point. So that's the most exciting part for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that you continue to develop it, and I hope you don't die. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it next. And thank you for joining us here today. It's been very engaging chatting with you both, and hopefully I will get a chance to talk with you again soon. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.